Hi! As school counselors, it helps us to know how we spend our time. This helps us figure out ways to improve our program delivery in order to help us meet the mission of our program. Think back to the mission statement you wrote for your counseling program. What might be getting in the way of doing what you described in that statement? Most counselors would say not having enough time. ASCA recommends that school counselors spend 80% of their time in direct and indirect student services, but most counselors find this difficult to achieve. So it's important for us to identify what specifically is causing us to not have enough time to do what we need to do in order to meet the mission of our program and ultimately to help students reach the vision we have for them. So how do we do this? Well, similar to how we looked at student data to identify goals for our program, we need to look at data on how we actually use our time and not just make assumptions about our time use. Tracking and analyzing our time can help us figure out what might be getting in the way of delivering our program. How our time is spent also should be shared with important stakeholders, especially with school administrators. Once we have actual concrete evidence showing how we use our time, we can then target the areas that need improvement and advocate with our administrators for feasible, practical ways of using our time more effectively and impactfully. ASCA recommends school counselors conduct a time use assessment twice a year to collect and analyze this data. This is done by tracking what you do in your daily work over a period of time and categorizing your hours by the type of activity you're doing. We know that this can be time-consuming to do, so we have a time sampling and analysis tool to help make it as easy as possible. To start, let's first look at what ASCA recommends for counselor time use. Remember, ASCA recommends that school counselors spend 80% of their time in direct and indirect student services, and the remaining 20% in managing your school counseling program and with school support services, otherwise known as fair share activities, the routine running of the school tasks that all staff take equal turns doing to ensure the school's smooth operation. So let's look at direct student services. Those are the in-person interactions between school counselors and students in the form of instruction, appraisal, and advisement, and counseling that help students develop the knowledge, attitudes, and skills outlined in the ASCA Mindsets and Behaviors for Student Success to improve their achievement, attendance, and discipline. So what constitutes direct services? Instruction, which would be classroom lessons or large group presentations. Appraisal and advisement. That would be helping students understand their abilities, values, career interests, for example. It often results in students establishing personal goals and developing future plans. Appraisal and advisement might occur in classrooms, large and small groups, or individually through career interest inventories, personality inventories, or any type of assessment or tests that you as a school counselor administer and or interpret. But remember, this doesn't include test coordination work. And then counseling. The professional assistance and support that you provide to a student or small group of students during times of transition, heightened stress, critical change, or other situations that impede student success. Counseling is short-term and based on counseling theories and techniques that are effective in a school setting. Indirect services. Indirect student services are those that are provided on behalf of students as a result of your interactions with others. Through indirect student services, collaboration, consultation, and referrals, school counselors enhance student achievement and promote equity and access for all students. So, what constitutes indirect services? Collaboration is the process in which many individuals work towards a common goal and share responsibility in associated tasks. It might be teaming, partnering, or committees with your school or district that you serve on. It could be parent workshops, community partnerships, or even crisis response. Consultation is the process of providing information, opinions, recommendations to individuals who can support a student's need or for seeking information from an expert. An example might be referrals. Those happen when students' needs extend beyond your training or your responsibilities within the school counselor role. They include, but aren't limited to, academic support referrals, such as tutoring, career support, such as college planning websites, employment opportunities, and social emotional support through community agencies or community mental health agencies. Program planning and school support. So program planning and school support would include program management, such as the school counseling program, defining and managing and assessing program tasks. In other words, managing your counseling program and evaluating your work. In addition, a small portion of the 20% of your time that is spent in fair share responsibilities. Those, again, are the routine running of the school that all staff take equal turns doing to ensure the school's smooth operation. For example, bus duty, lunch duty, any of those tasks, again, that everybody's asked to do or take turns doing. Finally, ASCA defines non-counseling tasks. They include a list, which we will also provide, of appropriate versus inappropriate activities for school counselors. And those are duties or tasks that are outside your role that impede the implementation of a comprehensive school counseling program. So those would be things that are getting in the way of you being able to do the work that you need to do. If you plan to apply for RAMP, ASCA requires that you conduct a 1-week time use assessment twice a year, once in the fall and once in the spring. If you're an Indiana school and you plan to apply for the state's updated Gold Star recognition, know that Indiana's Gold Star will require 2-week time use assessments twice a year. It's not a bad idea to do a couple of weeks of time sampling each semester. It will give you a better picture of how you use your time. However, we also know that this can be one more task on top of everything else you do. So you may decide that doing just the 1 week of time sampling twice a year is enough to help you assess your time use. Remember, time use assessment is something counselors should do every year in a comprehensive counseling program. No matter what counseling model you follow or whether or not you seek recognition from ASCA through RAMP or through your state's recognition or award program, it's best practice for a comprehensive counseling program, and it can serve as an advocacy tool for reducing the non-counseling activities that might limit your capacity to deliver student services. In this module, you'll complete a 1-week time sampling, but you can also continue to track your time with our tool for longer than a week if you wish. This time sampling will serve 2 purposes. First, it will help you learn how to analyze your current time use, and second, it will give you data for the annual administrative conference you'll have next fall with your principal, which we'll discuss and prepare for in Module 4. Just know that the time use log we have in our system works well on your laptop, a desktop computer, or even a tablet. At the moment, the mobile phone use might be a little tricky, but we'll eventually have it so that you can enter your time using your phone. You can find instructions for using the time use tool by clicking the menu at the top left found with the green lines. You'll also see other menu options, including counselor information. This is where you can customize your log by entering the total amount of hours that you're contracted to work each week, indicating whether your position is full-time or part-time. You can adjust the start and end times for your log, and you can also adjust how often you would like to enter time use data. ASCA uses a 15-minute time block on their template. This feature allows you to customize your data entry here. Be sure to click the green Save button at the bottom of the page to make sure your changes are saved. You can start logging your hours simply by typing in the activity you did at a particular time and select the category for that particular activity. Definitions of each category can be found at the top. Just click on the information icon next to each category to see an explanation. If you're unsure about an activity's type, you might discuss it with other counselors, either in your building or in your corporation. Just use your best guess. If you split a time block between two categories of activity, just use your best judgment in selecting the category that used most of that time. If this happens frequently, you'll be able to change the length of each time block. Looking ahead to next school year, if you plan on seeking RAMP, you'll need to collect and analyze a total of 2 one-week time use samples during the school year, the results of which will be submitted with your RAMP application. For Indiana's Gold Star, you'll need to collect 2 weeks of time sampling in the fall and 2 weeks in the spring for a total of 4 weeks for the entire school year. If you're completing our Summit level of RAMP Ready, you'll use our time sampling and analysis tool again next school year to complete the time use assessments needed for a RAMP application. So for right now, your task to complete is conduct the time use sampling for 1 week. Thanks for watching. In our next task, we'll work on developing calendars for our counseling program. As always, we're available for individual support through email, phone, text, or online with Zoom. If you need support, just reach out by calling or texting or by emailing me at kelly@inspiresuccess.org.